sea. Oh, they're making all these good old mountain dew. Oh, come on down the mountain, Katy. Come on down the mountain, Katy. Hey, here, calling Katy Daly. We want to drink your good old mountain dew. Pay attention, Katy Daly. I am the judge who's gonna sentence you. All the boys in quarters dropped your liquor. Tell the sugar to drink and let them do. Oh, come on down the mountain, Katy Daly. Come on down the mountain, Katy. Make sure it's called Katy Daly. We wanna drink your good old mountain dew. So take the gentleman to court, Katy Daly. Very soon the gates are open wide. Angels came to poor Katy Daly. Took her fire across the great divide. Oh, come on down the mountain, Katy Daly. Come on down the mountain, Katy. Make sure it's called Katy Daly. We want to drink your good old mountain dew. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's real good to be with you all here this morning to try to play and sing a little bit, and make sure that you vote for that gentleman right over there when you go to the poll. Don't forget Wayne Powell for Congress, okay? So now, who am I supposed to introduce, Ralph?
I guess the fiddle player.
Okay, we'll introduce you to the fiddle player and then all the other Clinch Mountain Boys, I guess. And playing the fiddle, he's been in the business a long time, and he's been with me, I don't know, how many years have you been with me?
Worked about 10 years with
you. He's been with me about 10 years. He's on a lot of our records, and he's a singing with me on a lot of records even when he wasn't with me. And he's a perfect match for me when I need a tenor singer. I call on John Rigsby. Give him a nice hand.
feller in the red shirt there. Pretty red shirt. What a pretty shirt he's wearing there. He's been with me a long time. I've known him for a long time, and he's a pretty good fella most of the time. And I can stay around and watch him real close, you know, and sort of steer him right and keep him on the right track. Yeah, make sure you're going in the right direction. And that's his mother sitting right over there on against the wall there, that pretty lady over there. And he's our son, Ralph Stanley II. Give him a nice hand.
It's real good to be here with everybody this morning. It's I was telling somebody I hadn't sang this early in I don't know how long. It's kind of hard to get. Somebody said, huh?
Or this late.
Or this late, yeah. We've been on a few of them sides of the track. But anyway, I've got a new song out. I'll do my best to get it for you. It's called Bluefield. It's out right now. So I hope you guys will enjoy that. Must be 10,000 still, and they found the biggest one outside of Bluefield. In a peaceful country now, nothing else 4 miles around. I saw whiskey run like water down through Bluefield. Our trouble started on that Tuesday afternoon. The sheriff told me federal men will be here soon. They say we come up with a plan to catch Bluefield's slickest man. And we will, as sure as I'm the sheriff of Bluefield. On a Wednesday I had 90 jars to count. Didn't think they had the time to set a trap. I heard a sound, and I swiftly hit the ground. And I shot, I sent them running back to Bluefield. Not a soul suspected me. I was the sheriff's deputy. I make whiskey, but God knows I'd never kill. I didn't know he was that close when I let my shotgun go. But I found I killed my friend, the sheriff of Bluefield. I recall how Mama and my girlfriend cried when they left with me for oh no, what a trial. It's my last night in this cell, last story I will tell, as I sit on death row dreaming about Bluefield. Bluefield, Bluefield, oh Bluefield. Hope you enjoyed that song. That's a good little song we have out recorded. It's called Bluefield. Yeah, we got some over here. I got some. It's on my own label this time. I recorded one for Stanley Family Records. So me and John Rigsby produced it, and I think, you know, John's one of the finest musicians in the business. Don't y'all think he is?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
John's got a lot of talent. Plays this field.
Glad to be a Democrat.
I'd like to bring Dad back up to the microphone now to sing one of his old-time classics, and I guess a little bit of Little Maggie somebody asked for a while ago, and without a doubt, I don't have to tell you guys, this is the greatest singer that, like Mudcat said, that I believe has ever been, because he was one of the originals. And them guys come out of the hills back in, he started in 1946, and just look at the impact that his music has left all over this country and this world, and where they come from is amazing. Him and his Uncle Carter, and you know, he passed away, but this guy right here has kept the Stanley sound going and always stayed true, and I believe it's just got better and better and better and better, just went on down the line. 66 years this gentleman's been traveling on the road. I think we ought to get together and give him a nice hand as he comes up and sings this for you one more time.
Good to be here, and Ralph told you there while we're here, you know, we want to, that gentleman right there, I met him, and he's, yeah, where's he at? Stand up, everybody give him a big hand. How many of you is going to put a cross mark around his name on election day? He's going to do that. What do we got, Ralph?
I thought we might do an old cross stick and guitar number.
Oh, if you want to, just go right ahead.
Okay, Chris, come on up there.
Let's give them a hand. They did a great job. Just give you a little background, we didn't go into too much detail about the name of the tour, O Cantor, Where Art Thou? Well, we had Brendan, who's our press guy. He did a little bit of research a few weeks ago. We were trying to see where Cantor was, and we had a heck of a time finding out where he was because he doesn't have a public schedule. But Brendan found 32 events in the last 4 months where Eric Cantor has done events around the country. I don't know, Las Vegas, New York, the Hamptons, raising money, Miami.
It's still 36.
Oh, well, I was getting to that. But 32 events around the country, and we couldn't find one in the district he represents here in Virginia. And I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican or an independent or a Jehovah's Witness, it is wrong. And it's unacceptable. So we got a guy running for Congress in Wayne Powell who has stepped up. He's been all over the district. He's talked to as many people as possible. He has held town halls in every single part of the district, something that Eric Cantor hasn't done in his entire career. And we ought to give him a hand. Welcome Wayne Powell, the next congressman from the 7th District.
Well, thank you all for coming, and actually Christian just shortened my speech. That sounds good. They probably heard it last night, said I need to cut a minute off, and that's good. Well, look, it's good to be on the stage with a man who is truly a legend in his own time, S-T-I-M-E, as opposed to Eric Cantor, who believes he's a legend, but he's only a legend in his own mind. So thank you, Dr. Ralph. Thank you, Clinch Mountain Boys.
Good luck. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Well, I can't think of any better send-off or culmination or continuing of momentum than this. So thanks to the Clinch Mountain Boys, as well as Nathan and Ralph the second, or they call him Ralph II, and of course this mountain music, which is really part of America's music. I mean, this is the Scotch-Irish, of which I'm a part. A little bit of English, and a little bit of mud, like many of us are, because we are a nation of a lot of mutts, and I certainly am not ashamed of that at all. Now, Christian here talked about, sorry my voice is ebbing, but my energy is not. Christian talked about all the places that Mr. Cantor goes. So the O Cantor, Where Art Thou is a very natural choice of name for this tour. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of talk about where he is and what he's doing. Well, if you just look at the facts, $2.5 million of what he's been able to accumulate for his war chest for this campaign came from the banks and the hedge funds. You know, those small businesses that he represents so well in Washington. $2 million comes from the, big pharma and insurance companies, such as the health insurance companies that are trying to take over a lot of the health care in this country. Not all those things when they talk about people dealing with their doctors. That's not what he wants. He wants people dealing with insurance companies who will rip you off if they can. I know, I used to work for one for about 10 years. Although they're really nice people that work there, they want their profit, sometimes at the expense of our treatment. And of course, $1 million, let's not forget the $1 million from big oil and from all the lobbyists. For example, you might recall Jack Abramoff had a sandwich named after Eric Cantor, which Eric didn't like. He wanted the name changed to a different sandwich in the shop. But this tells you who his real constituency is. It's not the people in this room, and it's not the people in this district, because he never visits here. And if those of you who saw the debate, and I hope you did, there's a link on our website. But at one point, he indicated that Mr. Powell here, I don't know much about being a congressman, because you know, you have to get down there and you have to deal with constituents. And there was audible laughter in the auditorium, not something that was programmed. Because everybody knows that, as Kristen indicated, his constituency of those people at those 35 places he goes to all around the Hamptons, New York, Vegas, wherever. We got some problems here in the economy, and we all know about what those problems are. We've got budgetary deficits that need to be taken care of. We have trade imbalances. First amongst them, of course, is the trade imbalance with China and India. And of course, he's been in Congress, as we all know, about 12 years. And what has he done about that? Well, nothing. As a matter of fact, on March the 29th, he voted for the so-called Ryan budget, which gave us about a $3 trillion more of deficit, or I'm sorry, of debt over the next 10 years. And it'll take us 28 years to eliminate that plus all the other debt we have. Sounds like a plan, but it doesn't sound like a very good American plan. So when he talks about being a fiscal conservative, I don't know who he's trying to fool, maybe this legend in his own mind, but he's not fooling the rest of us. Because what we've got to do in Congress and what I want to do in Congress is, first of all, we meet a little bit more than Eric has people meet. He has people meet about 109 days a year, or the 365 days in the year. And maybe we should meet a little bit more often to take care of these problems. And of course, the corporate welfare, there's no problem with that. He takes care of that with all his trips and his fundraising and so forth. But and in the last 12 years, we've had $2.8 million leave the shores of this country overseas. And Eric makes sure that that happens. And of course, he's not so concerned about things that we don't make here anymore, because of course, his real constituents, all those fat cat greedy people, are making a lot of profit in the last 12 years. And what has he done to bring any of those jobs back to this country? Nothing. Finally, of course, we need to at least talk about a little bit some of the social issues that beset us these days. And one of them that's, of course, made Virginia the ground zero is the women's rights issues. As we all remember, the transvaginal probe. And of course, during that controversy, he was hiding away, didn't really come up with any official position. But let me tell you something, is that a lot of people don't know, but we know, is 32 times he co-sponsored bills brought by this crazy guy you've heard about, a guy by the name of Todd Aiken, who's running for Senate. Do you know about that guy? You know, legitimate rape, which is the corollary to the aspirin between your knees, I guess, which is a big GOP standard these days. Well, 2 of those 32 bills talked about forcible rape, which of course was not defined. So the bottom line is, not only is he not a fiscal conservative, but all this talk about we don't want big government intruding in our lives, except that doesn't apply to over half of the population who happen to be women. Because in the case of women, and women's rights, the government can never be too big. And they can never be too forceful to make sure that women, and I've seen there's some small, so young girls here, as well as mature women, like everybody over 18 is a mature woman. And he wants to make sure, along with his cohorts, that women cannot make their own health care decisions, including decisions about reproduction and decisions about contraception. That is wrong, and I will fight it every time, just like I did back on after March 3rd, when I represented people as a lawyer for free. I didn't do it because I was a politician. I did it because it was right. And you women deserve the same rights men have, period. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is called social justice. You know, my wife and I, we have 3 granddaughters, 2 grandsons, and we have 2 sons and 2 daughters. And I know Catherine and I, by the way, where's Catherine? This is the reason I do what I do. And as I said last night, and I say frequently, of course most frequently at home, is that, you know, they say behind every good man is a good woman or a strong woman, but that's not the way it works in my family. The way it works in my family is beside every good man is a good woman, and she's always beside me. And that's the way it is. And that's the way it ought to be. Because we do this together. If we don't do it together, then we don't do it. And so in closing, people said from the time this began, when I still had a really strong voice, almost 2 years ago, that this is Cantor's district, you know, it's gerrymandered to be +9, then +12, and all these things. I didn't even know what they meant back in those days. And I will simply say that this is not a Cantor district or a Republican district. This is your district. This is our district. This is Virginia's district. This is America's district. We need to get our democracy, small d, back. And the way to do it is to go to the ballot box on November 6th. First of all, vote for me, because you're going to get representation. As I told one gentleman over there, he said, well, what is the reason to vote for you? And I said, well, first and foremost, I'll actually talk to you. I may not always agree with everything you say, but I'll consider it, and I'll consider the people first. I mean the human being people, not the corporate people. Because corporations are not people, they're corporations. So vote on November 6th, and before I get off, let me just thank all the volunteers that make this possible. We've already seen Christian and Mudcat, plus there's Candy, and then there's Brenda, and I know Tony up here in Hanover helps us a lot. But first and foremost, over the last almost 2 years, let me thank the people, because some days when I come home and I don't crawl into bed, I more or less slide into bed, or I fall into bed. If I can make it up the stairs, I normally do that okay. But really, it's the people that's kept everything going. And it means so much to us and to the campaign, because without you and without the things that you tell me and the way you advise, because really, democracy is about advice of the people. If this is going to be a democracy of the people, by the people, and for the people, then it's got to come from you. And so I come from you, and I want to serve you, and that's the best I can do. Thank you.